born and raised right here in Thief River. When I was a kid, kind of like Nicole always says, never wanted to be a farmer, and never wanted to marry a farmer, and here she is, a farmer herself. I swore I was never going to own my own business. My dad owned his own business growing up, and he worked a lot. We'd be camping, and he'd get a phone call, and he'd have to leave. We'd stay camping, but he'd have to go home and work. And I remember always asking my dad, why? Why do you have to go? Why can't you why can't you enjoy the weekend with us? And he said, and I say it now all the time to my kids, that if I don't pick up the phone, someone else will. So growing up, I learned quick that if you don't help a customer, they'll go somewhere else. There's some loyalty with some people, but in a business, which my dad was a commercial refrigeration guy, he had to pick up the phone. He had to go to work. Didn't matter. Middle of the night. Your name was cursed many times in my house.
His telephone number 681-6672.
My dad no longer has a phone in his bedroom. But that was what I thought of as I guess I didn't think of it as an entrepreneur at that time. I thought of it as a business owner, as you work all the time if you own a business. So I was never going to do that. I was going to work a 9 to 5. I was going to get to go home. I was going to get to sleep at night. I was going to get to take a weekend off and go with my family wherever I wanted to and not have to pick up that phone if it rang. And it was okay if the phone rang. So after high school, I went to college at Bemidji State University for psychology. I was a homeless youth counselor for many years. Not a 9 to 5 job, not something you can sleep at night with, but I wasn't a business owner. And it was weird to me because I thought, geez, why am I up at night? Why am I thinking so much about this? So I decided, nope, that's maybe not the career path for me. I needed something else that wasn't so stressful, that wasn't keeping me up at night. Again. So, I know. So I got married and moved to the cities, and was a bank teller. And that was a 9 to 5 job. Didn't have to think about it when I left. I hated it, hated every minute of it. There was a lot of responsibility that you don't really think about as a bank teller. Like, you've got lots of money in your till that you have to account for, and it was a lot of stress. And daycare cost was expensive, and I found out that my daycare was hiring and I could go work for them and get a discount on my daycare. So quit the bank teller, went and worked as that, and now I'm back to not sleeping at night because I'm a assistant director and a director of a learning center, and I'm worried about the kids, and I'm worried about our finances, and I'm worried about. Kind of decided that maybe that's just the life path I'm taking. Like, that's kind of where I kept ending up. Ended up moving back up north for many reasons, and was working at DigiKey, another 9 to 5 job. Could leave, could go home and sleep. Again, hated every minute of it. DigiKey is an amazing employer. I'm not bad-mouthing DigiKey by any means, just was not a job for me. Ended up being a single mom after a divorce, and sick kids, having to pick them up from school, kids missing buses, having to be late to work. I was getting a lot of checks, a lot of, Angie, you need to step it up, And then Marielle Anderson walked back into my life. No, she never really left. I've known Marielle pretty much my whole life. And at the time, she was going through some stuff and needed an office manager. And she came and asked me, and first thing I said to her was, you can't afford me. For me to leave DigiKey, where I was making a lot of money, great insurance, great benefits, I can't leave. I'm a single mom, Somehow, by the grace of God, my ex-husband got a job at DigiKey in the meanwhile, while I'm talking to Marielle about this. So then my brain switched to, okay, he can carry the kids' insurance. I just have to do my own. maybe she can afford me, And so I actually sat down with Mary Ellen and Cecil, and I brought my dad because I needed my tough guy with me. And yeah, we came to a deal that I could actually do it. So I went and I became Anderson Realty's office manager. Little did I know, Mary Ellen had much bigger plans for me than being her office manager. I was there for not even a year, I don't think, and she said, "Hey, you should get your realtor license." I'm like, it wasn't part of the deal. I'm just here. I'm your secretary. That's all I'm doing. No, yeah, not optional. And if you know Mary Ellen, she's very persuasive. She actually offered to pay for my schooling. So how do you turn down free education? So took the classes, got my realtor license, started doing that after hours because I was still the office manager. A little bit later, she comes to me and she says, "So I want to retire." Makes sense. You've worked your whole life, I want you to buy the business. Whoa. Like, I've always said I'm not going to be an entrepreneur. I'm not going to be a business owner. I'm not going to be the one in charge. However, as a realtor, doesn't matter if you own the business or not, you do own your own business because you have to pick up the phone or they'll go somewhere else. Like I said, there's people that are loyal, but in the same aspect, especially in the market right now, we know that if our phone rings, you better answer it because if there's a new house on the market and somebody wants to see it, you better show it to them or you're going to lose that sale, And as a realtor, commission is that's all you get, So it was difficult. And I went and talked to my dad again about it. And I said, "God, I never wanted to do this. I never wanted to own a business. I don't want to be like you." I love you, Dad, but I don't want to be like you. It's too much responsibility. Like, that's not me. And he's like, "But it is." He's like, "You already, even though Mary Ellen pays the bills and Anderson Realty pays the bill," he said, "you're 100% in. As the office manager, you run that place like you own it. You love that job. You love the people that you're working with. Why wouldn't you take this opportunity?" He's like, "This doesn't come along to everybody." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm a single mom. Like, how do I not have a wage? How do I not, so many questions. How do I? And my dad said, "But how do you not?" And that was just kind of the big thing. And it was like, okay, so in my mind, that meant if I failed, my dad was going to pay my bills. So I was okay. Either way, something was happening. Either my dad was going to start paying my bills or I was going to take off. And Anderson Realty, as I'm sure everybody knows, was a household name. I mean, everybody knows Anderson Realty. I stayed on the same, I'm in the same building that they were in. I stayed with the yellow and black like they did. I did everything, and I was just telling Jared before this, I didn't upset the apple cart. I did everything the way Mary Ellen did it. I kept all my finances where Mary Ellen had them. I kept my bookkeeping the same way, even though when I first started, I was like, "Oh my God, why does she do it this way?" I'm still doing it that way because it worked for her, and I didn't change anything except for the name. And that was per Mary Ellen's request. I think if Mary Ellen would have let me, I would have kept it even Anderson Realty, even though there wasn't, a Peterson, but not really an Anderson there anymore. I think I would have kept it the same just because of that. Everybody knows Anderson Realty. People still say, "Oh, Anderson," if I say that, "Oh yeah, I own Hometown Realty." "Oh yeah, Anderson Realty." Yep.
Still answer the phone, Anderson.
Yeah. It took us a while to switch that, but so for the most part, like I said, I tried to keep everything the same so that it wasn't scary to our customers. I tried to make sure that all of the integrity and everything that Mary Ellen had grown for so many years in Anderson Realty, I really wanted to make sure that I kept that. And I think being her office manager for so many years before I actually took over really helped because I didn't change much. I feel like, well, one of my realtors is here, but I feel like I pretty much run things the way your mom did. I feel like, I make sure that I instill that in all my realtors that, okay, but we're better than that. We need to do this because we're better than that. We're a team. I really, really try to instill that in all my realtors, and I hope that I'm doing that. The hard thing with realty, kind of like you said, I don't have anything really that I'm marketing, except for ourselves. I'm marketing. With me, at least, I get to market a team. I'm not necessarily saying, hey, I'm Angie, I'm the best, come to me. But my team is the best, and I know that, and I'm very confident in saying that. There's things that we do that other agencies don't do, and trying to get that word out there without sounding braggy is difficult. But there is a lot of stuff that Anderson Realty, Hometown Realty does that that other agencies don't do. There's a lot of real estate agents in town. Somebody could pick up the phone and call any one of them, and they can buy a house or sell a house. That's not the point. It's not that nobody else can do what we do, but nobody else can do it the way we do, I don't think. So as far as marketing, I'm kind of like, I don't like newspaper. Not saying that that's bad for people that do advertise in the newspaper. That's just not me. I don't do a lot of print ad. Anytime somebody calls and asks me, hey, do you want to advertise with this? First question I always ask is, am I the only real estate company? I don't think that, for me, putting my ad next to Generx Realty, that does nothing for me, because you're seeing both real estate companies. So to me, I always ask, am I the only real estate company? I like to think outside the box. We got a picture on the back of a bus, like that. Yeah, my agents love it. Every time I say we need to take a new picture, they're like, you're not putting it on the bus, are you? Like, I might just get another bus, like I might just put our pictures all over that bus. But, that was kind of, it wasn't expensive, and it was I hear a lot of people say, oh, saw you on the back of the bus. Oh, saw you on the, and it's a moving billboard, What else do I do?
You give away a lot of prizes. You're really good on
social
Facebook and
social media. Yep, we're pretty huge on social media. I think when it was Anderson Realty, I think we maybe had like 150 followers or something, and I think we're up to like 1,500 now. Just being top of mind. That's kind of the big thing. And I try to kind of sneak in some education in there sometimes, like some of our giveaways will be like just different things that, hey, did you know that we can do this? Or, hey, did you know this? Or, and just kind of sneak some education into it too. I did a training on social media advertising, and the big thing that they said was, make sure your face is on there. Very uncomfortable for me. I am always behind the camera. I like to take pictures. I like to take videos. I do not like the camera on me. So that took me a while, and I'm kind of pushing my agents a little bit to try to get them to do it as well. But so far, it's usually me that's the face of things. And like, we just did a commercial the other day, and my agents were like, are you serious? Like, you're going to make us do a commercial now? I'm like, yep. Everybody needs to come in. We're going to do a commercial. And I don't usually make you talk if you don't have to, but I at least want their faces, because like I said, that's the big thing. They want to see your eyes. They want to see that you're human. They want to see that if I make a mistake while I'm taping myself doing something, I keep it in there and I laugh about it, because that's who I am, and I want people to know who I am, and that I'm down to earth, and that I'm, I might not be the most professional person in the world, but we've got Gail and Shelley who are professional. And, we've got, I'm the joke. I'm the jokester. Like, that's how I am with my customers too. And I just feel like in your business, you kind of have to be yourself too and show some of that. Because that's what people are buying. They're buying you. Because like I said, any other realtor in town can buy or sell a house. It's how we perceive ourselves and how we are when we're doing our job, and the extra steps that we take, I think, is what sells it for them. So that's kind of my story. That's my trek, if you will. Yes.
I got a question for you, Angie.
Yeah.
The one thing you didn't mention was that you expanded already.
Oh, yes. So actually, when Marielle owned the business, I always told her, like, we got to get to Warren. There's nobody in Warren. What a great little community, and nobody was there. Well, before I knew that she was kind of on her way out, she was like, nope, I'm not expanding. I'm like, come on, like, why wouldn't you? You know, like, to me, that was just like the golden ticket. Like, why wouldn't you move to Warren? Because, it's 32 miles, I think, or whatever, and it's far enough away that I think that I always thought that if there was a real estate company in town, why would people then go to Grand Forks or to Thief River to find a real estate company when you've got one right in town? And she just was not interested. So that was actually one of the first things that I did, was start looking for a building in Warren when I found out that I was going to be taking over. And it's been great. It's been very successful. We're only open over there 3 days a week, but just having a building and a billboard, the big name on top of the building, that kind of speaks for itself.
Do you have team members that live in Warren?
No.
No?
Nope. So Shelly Guzik lives in Newfolden, and then me and Sarah both live in Thief River, and we're the three that go over and man that office. We're only open Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. But like I said, it's kind of enough that we kind of joke about it, like that's our day that we bring all of our work that we actually need to get done, because nobody visits us there, and it's quiet, so you can get a lot done, because we don't have a whole lot of, and really the walk-in business everywhere, I mean, even in Thief River, has really calmed down. Like, we get a lot of phone calls or internet leads, but we don't get just the walk-in like we used to. Before we were on the MLS, I mean, we had boards of the houses that were for sale and which area they were in, and people had to come in to see what was, or they'd have to go to everybody's website, And now that we're on the MLS, you can pull up anybody's website and everybody's listings are on it. So there's not as much walk-in traffic as there was, but just, like I said, I can't tell you how many people have called, and it's the same phone number as Thief River, so it's just one number. It's not like we're missing calls if somebody's trying to call our Warren office. And then, they say, yeah, well, I was just driving by and I just saw, your number on your sign, and it's like, yep, you did. So yeah, our Warren, Alvarado, Oslo, Argyle, Stephen, that area for us has really picked up. So yeah, it was a good move on our part.
Any other questions for Angie? John?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that it's competitive. The real estate's competitive. Selling houses. It's also competitive getting realtors. I think my dad and stepmom are both realtors from Fargo.
Oh.
It seems like people are moving companies all the time. How do you attract realtors to work for you besides just having that great team environment?
Right. And that's the big thing. I actually, and here I get braggy, but we are the number one. If anybody's looking for a job as a realtor, they're going to do their research, I would hope. And they're going to see that Hometown Realty, we have the most listings, we have the most buyers. If you're looking at like closed stuff on Zillow, you're going to see Hometown Realty's name over and over again. So a lot of people actually do contact me to come and work for me. I kind of like the team that I have. I haven't hired on anybody new. I haven't lost anybody, which actually was kind of one of the things when I was, Gail Oyster is one of my agents, and she was supposed to be retiring April of 2019. And I was going to be taking over March of 2019. And I said, no. You either have to retire before I take over, or I want you to sign on for at least another year. And because I didn't want it to look like, oh, Angie took over, and all of a sudden people are dropping like flies, So she actually signed on for another year and another year. She's still there, and I'm not sure when she's retiring. But I don't know where I was going with that. Oh, retention. And my agents actually get calls from other agencies quite a bit, asking them to come work for them, because again, I do have the best team. And thank God they all stay with me. And I don't pay them the most. Other agencies are offering to pay them more. But there's pluses and minuses with that. If you work for, what's a good example of another agency? Well, this Exit Realty out of Fargo, for one, is one that is contacted 3 of my agents and tried to get them to come work for him. And they offer to pay them like 90% of what they get, where Hometown Realty is half. So it's quite a big difference in the amount of money that they would make per sale. But they don't have an office. They don't have the brick and mortar, that they can actually, there's a sign that says this is where you can come and find me. They don't have a broker really that they can go and talk to, that, where my door is always open. If somebody has a problem, come on in and talk to me, or give me a call, shoot me a text. I'm available anytime for my agents. There's not a team. If you can't make a showing right now, let's say this weekend, for instance, I had a graduation in Fargo and then I went to the lake. Well, if one of my buyers would have contacted me to see something, Nicole was in town, Shelly was in town, Sarah was in town, I could have called any of them and they would have brought my buyer out to show them a house so that my buyer didn't lose out just because I wanted to have a vacation. And working for some of these other companies, you don't have that. So I think that that's kind of the big thing that keeps them there. And like I said, I'm pretty picky for who I want to hire. I have, like I said, I've been contacted several times on, hey, I'm taking my classes, can I come work for you? And I've said no to everyone, except for one, and then she got pregnant and ended up not being able to start work anyways. But I've said no to everyone because I want, if I have an agent that starts working for me, they need to be able to be in the office. This isn't going to be a part-time job right away. This isn't going to be something that I just want someone to sign on willy-nilly because they want some extra cash on the weekend. That's not a realtor job. And I want to make sure that they're doing things the way that I want it done. I'm very controlling, maybe, is a word that people have used about me in the past.
Not me.
No, not Nicole, but I know how I want things done, and I want to make sure that you're doing it that way. And kind of like any other education, I'm guessing when you're sitting behind a desk and you're learning about it, you learn a lot more when you get out into the field yourself. And if you don't have time to come and sit in the office and hear the way we're working and the way that we're talking and the way that we're talking to our customers and the way that we're handling situations and the way we bounce things off of each other, like, hey, I just ran into this, because in the real estate business, you learn something and find something new every day. And if you don't have time to sit in the office and be able to listen to that and see the way that we're doing things, then I'm sorry, you can't work for me, because that's very important to me. I don't just want agents to bring me money. I want agents that are going to do it the same way that, this is how Hometown Realty does it. So, one bad agent could ruin your reputation. And I feel like way back from Anderson Realty, we've got a good reputation, so I want to keep it that way.
I was going to say, you must have had a good mentor, Marielle, right?
I sure did. Yeah. Yep.
Any other questions before we wrap it up?
I got one thing if you got
Yeah.
Yep.
First, I just want to applaud you in the sense of, from everything I've heard, you don't ask any of your agents to do something you're not willing to do, whether it's
Right.
the marketing or driving to Warren. A lot of bosses give their underlings the tough stuff, and they kind of stay up top where it's easy.
Yep.
And you clearly don't do that. I think that's a lot of respect for you for that.
Thank you.
My question was going to be, what changes do you plan moving forward? You answered that a little bit, but are there anything else you'd like to progress or adjust or grow differently going forward with your agency? You've already added Warren, but is there anything else that you're willing to share that would be kind of maybe an adjustment?
I've actually thought about, there's a few other towns that it's like, man, I should get an office there. But before I can do that, I need to make sure that I have the staffing for it, and that I've got the people that are willing to go the different directions. That's kind of the big thing. I'm very comfortable where I'm at with the number of agents that I have. Again, I'm not willing to hire somebody else, but I'm not, they have to be able to meet my standards. And eventually, if I do plan on opening elsewhere, I think that I have to expand and get more people to be able to man those offices. Which, like I said, kind of at this time, I'm not at that point. Yeah, I'm not really sure. Right now, my biggest thing, that I work on is marketing. Like I said, I want to make sure, and thinking outside the box, just thinking of different things. Like Shelly one day mentioned, like, man, she had been hiring somebody to go out and do drone pictures for her whenever she had rural properties. And I said, well, geez, you're dropping $300 for somebody to go take your pictures? Why don't I buy a drone? We can learn how to use it. And we can do it ourselves, So I bought a drone. Everybody's been playing with it. We've kind of been learning how to do it, and that kind of stuff. And when COVID hit, you know, was like, man, what can we do? Virtual tours. Okay, I bought the equipment. We went out and we started learning how to do virtual tours, and so people could walk through the houses without actually having to be in the house. So that's kind of our big thing is I just hired an interpreter. We found out that a lot of Spanish-speaking people were trying to buy houses, and I was meeting with one day, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, do they understand what I'm saying? Like, this is all very legal, very important that they understand. Not so much that they could all talk enough that I could understand what they were saying, and they could understand me, but did they understand? I wanted to make sure. So I actually had a friend of mine that speaks Spanish and actually did the classes and the whole ordeal that she was a Spanish interpreter. And I called her, and I actually got her on the phone when I was meeting with one of my customers, and I said, Vanessa, I need you to try to help me. I want to make sure that they understand before I make them sign this purchase agreement. I want them to understand what they're signing, because that's very important to us, and that's one thing that Hometown Realty really is good at, is explaining purchase agreements. We just ran into a situation that another agency, we're not making any money off this deal, but another agency that somebody was using that knew Nicole actually called Nicole and said, we don't understand this, and they want us to sign this purchase agreement. So Nicole actually went over and explained this purchase agreement that Hometown Realty has nothing to do with, but we want to make sure that people understand. I mean, buying a home is scary enough, even if you've done it before, but to not understand what you're signing is even scarier. So so I called Vanessa, and I just had her on the phone, and she interpreted for me, and it felt good. So I offered her a job. We're kind of seeking out what people need, and that's kind of where I'm at with the expanding process, if you will, is just expanding our services so that we can help more people and make sure that they're understanding and that they know what they're doing and how can we help you type of stuff.
Thank you.
Yep.
Angie,
Yeah.
you mentioned that you're also on the Grand Forks MLS.
Yeah, something else that is only our agency so far. Nicole always tells me whenever I get angry about something, she says, imitation is the best form of flattery, Angie, because I get mad when other agencies do things that we do. But we also are on the Grand Forks MLS as well as North Star. So like our listings are on North Dakota as well as Minnesota, Iowa, and Wisconsin. So, that's kind of a big point. But I kind of thought that was necessary when we started Warren, because a lot of Warren stuff was being used by Grand Forks, and we actually tried to get licensed in North Dakota because we thought we could jump the border. That's cool, but there is another Hometown Realty in North Dakota, and they would not allow us to be licensed. They're in Bismarck, and they said absolutely not would they allow another Hometown Realty into the state of North Dakota. So I either would have had to have changed my name to get licensed over there or just not get licensed. So we decided not to get licensed in North Dakota. But yeah, kind of crazy. I had no idea.